Hello, namaste, namaskar, good afternoon, good morning, or maybe even good evening, in whichever part of the world you are joining us from. My name is Deepak R. Khemani, and I am one of the co-founders of Bloom, along with my other co-founder who is joining me, Abhijit Sansgiri, and Payal, who is currently. Whichever part of the world you are joining us from.
Yeah, Deepak.
I'll just restart again. Yes. So Sunday afternoon, 12:30 India time, for the last 299 weeks, without fail, come rain or shine, online or offline, 12:30 India time is the time to log into the Sunday Bloom Talk Show. In this journey of 299 weeks, we have had people from across the world. In fact, all 7 continents of the world have been represented on the Sunday Bloom Talk Show. We've had our very own scientist who has been to Antarctica twice. So the Americas, Europe, Africa, Australia, Asia, you name it, and people from across the globe have graced our platform. We've had speakers, trainers, coaches, athletes, politicians, doctors, lawyers. We had one person who had represented her country in the Olympics 4 times, a 4-time Olympian representing her country. We had a parliamentarian from South Africa. We've had defense people, we've got pilots, you name it, and people have been here. What are they doing here and why are they here? Well, everybody has a story to share. Everybody has an experience which can be learned from. We invite such people, one, to come and share their experiences so that we can learn from them. And of course, learn. People who come to say they want to make that's the 299 episode. A very special guest today. Arjumand, she is an international motivator, author, and a coach. I'll ask the Q session and will be.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Abhijit, I can hear you, but Dr. Khemani is a little.
Fine. Okay, I'll go ahead.
I didn't get the last part.
Yeah, sure. So fine. So welcome to our show, and let's get on directly to the topic itself. So AI is getting smarter and smarter, but are humans getting wiser? So is that true?
Yes, that is true to a certain extent. However, having said that, AI is definitely smarter, but the human becomes smarter when they know how to use the technology to their advantage and not let AI take over.
Fine. I think that's said as crisp as it can. But then, how do we, as humans, smartly take AI to our advantage?
Right. Okay. So I'll share a couple of things with you. We live in an age of artificial intelligence, and I personally don't think that the biggest danger of AI is that machines are becoming intelligent, right?
Yeah.
I think the bigger danger is that the human beings, that is you and me, we are losing our USP. We are losing our emotional connectivity. We are losing our alignment. And if I were to speak of today's youth, even though they are more connected digitally than any generation before, yet a lot of them are suffering from anxiety, loneliness, emotional overwhelm, and I would even go to the extent of saying like an identity crisis. So this is where I think AI is at right now. And I believe we as humans, if we work on our USPs, essentially being emotional resilience or adaptability quotient, emotional quotient, these are what will hold us in strength, and we can work actually alongside AI.
So why that's true? I think I go back to an era, maybe me and Deepak, or maybe some of us, in an era where computers were not there. So I'm talking in the late 80s, where even computers were not there and work was done manually.
Correct.
That's where computers came in, and it was told that they would take up a lot of manual jobs, and while they did, but the overall economy grew. So while computers were there, technically, yes, there was a realignment of certain industries, but work
Yes.
was always there. Same way when the internet came in, a lot of work which was the R&D or something which was done manually is now being done more effectively, productively.
Yeah.
The same is with AI, where it's what we call AI is something where even 5 years back there used to be a robotic process automation, or there used to be the SQL is written, so you could have a structured query language written, and the MI is coming out. Now, are people really complacent of the fact that yes, these cycles do come in and we just can't be replaced? Or are they overreacting that what AI would do and get their jobs completely out?
If I were to go back to history, right back to the Industrial Revolution,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
And, and this cycle has been repeating since then. And mankind, when any kind of, humankind, in any kind of change, when they are facing any kind of change, whether industrial, technological, social, revolutionary, we tend to react we tend to get into that fight or flight mode. We tend to react in a very fear based manner, feeling threatened by the technology. And because of our history of coming from the ancestors who were used to living in survival mode, it was the survival of the fittest, right? And our brain is still in somewhere in that era. We still live with that mentality. So it's and change is the only constant we have in life. So it's about getting our mindset to change, to be able to be adaptable, to be able to be, and like you very rightly said, I think in the 80s, after the industrial revolution, I think in the 80s and 90s it was television. I think we were threatened by television in the 80s or
Yeah.
70s, right? And then after that came the internet, and then after that came the social media, and now it's artificial intelligence. But like you were mentioning, competitors, who survived and who perished? Those who remained adaptable, those who learned this, those who remained open, with an open mindset to learn the skill that they needed to in order to adopt the technology, they are the ones who survived.
So what is very clear here is that adaptability
Yes.
and the Darwin's theory remains valid and would remain valid as long as I think we are there, or maybe another 10 generations of us are there.
Till
And
it gets eliminated, right?
yeah. So till mankind is eliminated. So while technology will keep on changing, the customers' tastes and preferences will keep on changing. And one thing where uh, things will happen even faster, maybe Steve Jobs said long back, action at the speed of thought. I think
Yes.
that's what is true even now, is one needs to respond immediately, not react. So
Yeah.
again, how does one acquire the skills to do that, and why should we not over worry about it and just go in a calm, relaxed mind? Yes, this too shall pass. I think whatever phase is, that's another universal lay that this too shall pass.
So I feel right now, definitely AI has come in. It's, it's made our tasks and our jobs a lot easier, and the speed with which it does work, and to the extent of even thinking sometimes, right? However, I would still um, I would still use it as a tool, just like, see, AI, after a certain point, we cannot leave everything to AI. Our human USP is the fact that we have morals, we have ethics, we have values, right? And we have a spiritual or a moral alignment with a higher power, with the divine power, which AI obviously lacks, right? And AI, yes, just as a tool, like, social media, when the internet came out or Instagram came out, what happened? Right? What happened? People felt threatened by it. They said, no, it's the doom of the youth. It's, the generation is going to get, and we see that effect now to a certain extent. But it's the human who uses the tool that dictates how the tool controls it.
Yeah.
Right? And therefore, like you said, yes, speed now is, so now, whether it's launching a business, or whether it's starting your own brand, or whether it's being an entrepreneur, or whether it's even automating work tasks, that has become automated with the help of AI. But at the end of the day, who is the one who will survive? It's not about survival of the fittest, as we say in the human to human aspect,
Now
right?
let's say it's survival of the fitter among the fittest. It's not just the
Correct.
fittest.
So, yeah, so that's also changed over time. So it's the survival of the person who learns to adapt, to use the tool smartly, thoughtfully, with a correct moral and ethical base. And I'm a faith-based coach, right? I'm a spiritually based coach. So, I go into those elements, but emotional resilience, the people. Now, example, if you come across two students, they've got the same degree, they've got the same qualification, they've got the same skill, they've scored the same marks, right? But if one student does not know how to manage emotions, does not know how to deal with stress, if he's struggling with self accountability, and if he's struggling with procrastination, but the other student, other person who potential employee in tomorrow's generation comes to you with all these human skills, which would you choose?
Great question. Before I go in my next question, or something which I would take from this is spirituality, and you are a faith coach. So what is spiritual intelligence, or what? How does spirituality and AI blend together?
Great question, and thank you for asking that question. So, it's see, spirituality is deeply personal to everyone,
Yes.
regardless of the faith that they follow.
Yes.
It's deeply spirit, but it gives a sense of alignment with the divine or the universe or the creator, whatever you may believe in. And if we have that, if that sense of alignment is aligned, right? And if we operate from that spiritual sense, or spiritual, it could be spiritual, it could be emotional, and by spiritual I mean connecting to the divine, so that we know that we are operating from the right value system, from the right morals, from the ability to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong, the ethical boundaries that we can set. And if we operate from that kind of space in today's technology driven world, that is what is our USP as humans, because AI cannot do that. And the recent social experiment that happened, um, about building the AI building their own social network, about the AI building their social network, and the kind of things that we got to read that came out of that clearly indicates that there is a big gap, a complete lack of morals, ethics, values in that entire ecosystem.
I agree. Yeah. So There was one more book which I read just yesterday, and that book is by an author called Morgan Housel, and the book is Same as Ever. And
Same
while
as?
same as ever,
Hmm.
some things that will never change. He says human greed will never change. The human fear will never change, and the human desire to progress, to grow and evolve will never change. So why focus something on AI or something which will maybe take away your jobs or require different skills? Why don't you focus on just doing the damn thing? So the point is that, as you said, from the industrial evolution, the technology was always evolving and adapting. Why are we not treating AI as just another form of technology which is making things even better for us? So why don't we go with that mindset?
Because our mindset is naturally by default fear driven.
Yes. So same
And
as
we,
ever, fear will always be there.
yeah,
That
so the
will be great.
person, so
Yeah.
the person the person who is able to adapt in spite of the fear, not that the person doesn't have fear. So we need to change our fear mindset, our mindset of fear, to a mindset which says, okay, no, this is also a tool, just like any other tool that came about from history immemorial. This is also another tool I need to be able to use to my advantage to speed things up for me.
Fine, I will, yes. And why don't I look at it positively that I have a limited time on earth and there is a technology which is making things even more convenient for me. So why should I not be
Why
happy
should I
about it
feel
rather
threatened?
than, yeah, why
Why
should
should
I
I
feel
feel
threatened?
threatened?
Yes. So how can that mindset be developed?
Okay, can I share something with you?
Sure, sure. Yeah.
See, in this AI era, our greatest advantage is not that it's not about how much we know, it's about how we manage ourselves, right? And here, when I'm talking about emotional intelligence or spiritual alignment or inner discipline, or basically the skills that make us human, right? The skills that make us human. And I want to use this exact framework, exact word, in fact, human, to share a framework of how we can make technology a friend rather than be threatened by it. Okay, so if you have your permission, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. So it's a simple 5-step framework, right? The framework is human, HUMAN, right? Humanity and empathy, right? It's about the ability to understand our emotions, to listen deeply and genuinely. Do you think an AI can care for you as much as a human being can? So in this world of automation, the human connection is what stands out, right? People still need to feel heard. People still need to feel understood. What AI does is it validates your own thought process. And we've seen this with a lot of social experiments, especially in the suicidal case, where the AI doesn't have its own power to think. It just validates your own thought process, right? A big part of it, not all of it, a big part of it. Whereas what does a human being need? Guidance, to be understood, to be respected, to feel emotionally safe. So the humanity and the empathy. Number two, you, which is the understanding and the emotional intelligence part of it, right? And by emotional intelligence, all the things we discussed encapsulates all the things that we discussed, right? Information has become cheap, but what has become rare? Wisdom. And so if we focus on our USPs as human beings, see, the skill of AI can be learned. People, a student can spend 6 hours on YouTube or any other course and learn the skill of AI. That's not hard. What is the hard part? Does the human have the ability to manage the emotion? Can they handle conflict? Can they communicate effectively? Can they stay calm under pressure? And can they build strong relationships? Now, these leadership qualities, do you think AI can replace that?
So,
M, moral and ethical thinking. Human, HUM, moral and ethical thinking, right? AI can generate answers. But who gets to decide who is right? What is ethical? What is responsible? What is morally correct? Right? So character more than ever now plays a role. A, adaptability and the attitude of lifelong learning. This is where we need to change our mindset from fear-based to a lifelong learning mindset, where it says, okay, technology has been changing and change is the only constant in life. So how can I adapt to change? Am I coachable? Am I teachable? Am I flexible? Am I adaptable? And those people who stay adaptable remain relevant. And N, right? N is basically nourishing relationships, people, network. It doesn't matter. Your purpose, the meaning of life, right? If you ask AI, all kinds of questions have been asked to AI. How many responses can you relate? Right? They are generic responses. And now, though, with Claude and all the latest developments, they've become a little more refined, but they cannot still give you your purpose, your sense of belonging, your sense of contribution, your sense of morality, your sense of spirituality. So, to answer you, Mr. Abhijit, as technology becomes more advanced, humanity actually becomes more valuable.
I agree. So quite deep. Does the younger generation especially have the mindset to think so deep? Because what AI has brought in is with, and what I would just use AI as just another advanced form of technology,
Right.
is that it's made things very faster. As you said, knowledge is now available at a click of a prompt. So while you talked about suicide, while they may not understand why someone wants to do suicide, but he would give him 1001 new ways to commit suicide, or commit suicide the painless way, or the quick way. And why should you, or why should you not commit suicide? Also, there could be 1,000 reasons thrown in the minute, but maybe some human there who would just put an arm and comfort and listen or something. So as I say, the book by Morgan Housel, some things never change. So while the greed, the fear, the desire to evolve, or the desire to be understood, or the human relationships which will be there, will remain forever. So that's something which will not change. But yes, at a certain age, so when I was just a kid in the late 70s, life was slow. And maybe it was worth enjoying. Now it's in this fast-paced life. Is this real progress? One. And the second question is, how does the younger generation adapt, adjust, or something? Because what they are seeing is the new normal.
Correct.
So how does one basically stay calm in all of these? And maybe the younger generation adapt to the new normal?
So again, coming to your question of progress, yes, it's definitely progress from a technological point of view, absolutely 100%. And there's no doubt about that. Right? But where we're degenerating is where I feel we need to be a little concerned about is our own human degeneration. Right? And what I mean by that is, see, we're all, let me give you an example. A family sitting in a living room or gone out for dinner together, a family gone out for dinner together. In the car, they're driving. One person is driving, the rest are on their phone. They're sitting in a living room. The TV is on, everybody is on their phone. And that somehow has become the reality of our life. Unfortunately, no judgment being passed on anybody, but it's something that we see. I mean, we need to look at our own living rooms. I'm not even looking into other people's living rooms, where we're sitting together as a family. So we're physically present, but our mind is somewhere else. We're connected to other people. We're not connected to each other. We're physically present with each other, but we're connected to other people digitally, emotionally, whatever it may be. When physically we're present with each other. So that is where I'm a little worried about, and I'm a little scared about the future of our generation. And coming to the youth, right? The kids today, they learn to, and this is a statistically proven fact, they're learning to speak later in life. Because from a very young age, so they know how to scroll, they know how to change videos, but they don't know how to speak. And unfortunately, that really makes me feel sad. We even as parents, okay, I mean, we probably have teenagers at home or young adults at home, right? Even as parents, or even as parents, we are somewhere responsible for that, because we are being taken away by technology so fast that even we don't have the time to think sometimes, like, no, I have to consciously make that effort to emotionally connect, or to connect, whether it's with my kids or so even small simple things, meal time, no device time, or even once a week, half an hour, 15 minutes family time, no device. And the youth is now, forget youth, even I find myself so, I mean, reaching out for my phone at the moment I have a time to spare. So it's about catching yourself too, and then staying connected with the kids. I mean, if I'm on my phone the whole time, by what, with what face do I tell my kids don't be on their phone? So yes, they're digitally connected, but the questions we need to ask ourselves as parents of the youth or young adults or people, the next generation that is coming, have we modeled that behavior? Have we taught them what emotional intelligence is all about? Have we displayed emotional intelligence? Right? Have we given them the environment where they are not carried away by technology and disconnected from their own selves? So a lot of questions we need to ask ourselves also.
So I'm reminded that there is something which can never change, and it just reminded me of, there was a poem in school, Leisure,
Yes.
by W.H. Davis. So it said, we just don't have the time to stand and stare, no time to
Yes.
stand beneath the
No.
tree.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, so the point is, while we may have been digitally savvy, are are we really grown wiser in that sense? So that's again a deep reflection, which everyone needs to do. And the second thing is, while technology has enabled us to do work faster, and some things which never changes, let's say some works which we get will never change. The only thing is, at the cost at which we need to do it will get reduced, and we can do more work. So have
Yes.
people really thought that while AI has freed us some time, or a lot of time, from our routines, what that we were doing, how do we use that time more effectively for maybe ourselves, for others? So how does
Right.
now manage time in the age of AI? And I'm putting a reverse here. We have a lot of time. If you got it's all about prioritization. So how do we do a time management in this era?
Super question. And thank you for asking that question. But once again, there are two aspects to this, right? There are two aspects to this. One is because the AI has come into the picture, we find that we have more time at our hand in our hands, right? But at the same time, technology is literally in our hands, right? And It's about how we manage our time, and in this case I would say even energy. Okay, to not be accessible all the time. Like for example, a working professional who works from 9 to 5 or 10 to 7 or whatever it is, they are still accessible after 7. How did it used to be in the, earlier 70s, 80s, whatever? Once you leave from your job, you have no access, no contact with your job again till you go back the next day, right? But in
Yeah.
today's day and age, we've become so accessible that even though physically we've left work, mentally we've not. Right? We're still connected to work, or we're checking emails at night or later at night or whatever it is, right? So we're still connected. So there is where we need to work on that, I wouldn't say compartment, we need to work on compartmentalizing. The ability to say, okay, no gadgets 30 minutes before bed. I will not, the first thing I get up is I will not check my phone. I will give, like you said, I have the time, I will, I will do my deep breathing. I will, get up, wash my face, go whatever, do the needful. I will do a little bit of meditation and relaxation before I even open my phone. I will pray. I will connect with the divine, deep, spirituality, whatever, universe. That's what I do. Right. And like you said, now that we have time at our hands, we need to use that time and the energy to enhance our skill set as human beings, because the technological skill set AI has taken care of, but we need to work on our skill set as human beings to now, like for example, how can we make the world a better place for the youth of tomorrow? How can we, so because we've reached that level where AI takes, and like you said, we have time, but again, concept of time is very relevant, and so is the concept of energy. For everybody, time is very different. But I mean, if we have the time and and now the mind space to think of, okay, what is it that I need to do, you know, to improve myself or the next generation or the youth or the coming generation, what can I do so that they are still connected with themselves and not connected only to social media, AI, technology.
So while I'll ask Deepak to take over after a question, I see in our group there's also Dorji who's joined in from Bhutan. Dorji Ardul. So wishes Dorji now. Uh, while I just saw him on the chat, and there's one which immediately one question which struck me is something, and I would even like your views and even Dorji to give his views. So country like Bhutan, who values happiness over economic growth. That's what I understand. They have the gross national happiness quotient. So someone is happiness still relevant in the age of AI, where people are just busy being mechanical, so they're busy than being productive, or as you say, they're busy, not thinking, not being wise. Where does this place happiness and all of that?
Once again, happiness is again very different for everybody.
Yes, I agree.
And also, happiness is something internal. Happiness is something, happiness for me is and by happiness, when I say happiness, I mean peace, I mean tranquility, I mean the, getting away from that hustle culture of doing, and rather than just doing and having this time and space to think. And like you said, be happy, to appreciate what I have, to have that gratitude, right? Again, happiness is relevant to each person, is different for each person. But having said that, happiness is an internal game.
Yes.
Happiness was never external, and happiness is never external. The place where we faltered is made happiness about the external. So it's whether, and in the age of social media or AI, where external happiness is, predominantly dictated by how many likes do I have on my post, or how many people have given me a thumbs up, or how many people have shared it, or which content creator has liked it. We are allowing our happiness to be dictated by an external, by the external. And in the age of AI, okay, whatever the social media is, the likes and everything that we have, whereas happiness by definition is an internal game.
So what I was
which stems predominantly from being aligned, being aligned mind, body, soul. Let's just keep it at that.
So, Deepak, you can take over, but just one concluding is, should we be happy that AI is there and accept it as it is and respond, or just be happy also that we are a slave to technology and whatever it is? So be, as you said, be aligned, be calm, be peaceful, the inner stillness, the happiness overall, what we call it. This is it. Let it be. This too shall pass, and let me enjoy myself in whatever I'm doing. So
accept the reality for what it is.
yeah,
It's
accept the
basically
reality for what
accepting
it
the
is.
reality for what it is.
I agree. Yes. Yes, Deepak.
I take a lot of sessions and we do talk about AI, and one sentence I always repeat and everybody laughs after that, what was the need of artificial intelligence? So let's turn around both these words, artificial and intelligence. The need was because of natural human stupidity. Artificial, natural intelligence and stupidity. So we do make a lot of mistakes. We are all emotional beings, and we get carried away on both sides, good and bad. That is why artificial intelligence came right in between to tell us that this is what an intelligent person or an entity would do. Having said that, we call it artificial intelligence and not artificial wisdom.
Correct.
It is still called intelligence. So let us talk about intelligence and wisdom and how does it make a difference.
If I were to put it very simplistically, it would be, I would equate intelligence with the mind. Okay. Let's take it in the heart and mind concept. Okay.
Yes.
So having said it very simplistically, if you say intelligence, it's 80% mind, 20% heart. Right? Like I'm talking about intelligence, a little bit of emotional intelligence, 20%, and a little bit of, mind intelligence, 80%. Right?
Yeah.
So 80-20, that would be intelligence.
Yeah.
Right? Wisdom comes from experience.
Yeah.
So I would say experience plus maybe even 60% or 70% heart and 20% in mind would be wisdom.
So clearly, wisdom does not equal to intelligence. There needs to be experience coming in. What we learn from what we did, whether it was intelligent, right or wrong.
Yeah,
wisdom
whether it was smart or
comes
not.
from the knowing. Yeah. So continuing that topic, do you feel that AI will actually achieve a place where we would call it wisdom?
No.
Okay. And the reason being?
And the reason being that I truly believe AI is a tool, right? And AI cannot replace humans. I mean, yes, it can replace a lot of and this is our fear, right? Because it's replacing jobs, it's taking over jobs, because unfortunately, we've defined our self-worth by the jobs that we do.
Yes.
by the positions that we hold, whether it's in
Yeah.
society or in the corporate world or the jobs that we do. And if
Yes.
we've given our life to jobs which are repetitive tasks, which don't require human intelligence or human
Yes.
quotient or human
Yeah.
spirituality,
Yeah.
then those are the jobs that are being threatened and taken over. And
Correct.
that's why beings are living in that state of fear, because they have dedicated their lives. I mean, a lot of them, 60, 70 years of their lives till they retire, doing only a certain set of tasks, which is
Yes.
now they're feeling threatened by, because AI is able to do it in like a quarter or even less than that time.
Perfect.
Right? But
Yeah.
here is where we are not utilizing our potentials as human beings. And artificial intelligence may have the potential to do a lot,
Yeah.
but it cannot feel. Right? It may give you output,
Yeah.
but it may not. It can give you output, but it will not make you. Why do we communicate with each other? Why do we have conversations with each other? Because at some point, something I say connects with you,
Yeah.
right? Or something you say connects with me.
Yeah.
That AI cannot replace, no matter how much output it gives out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's
Yeah.
that. So AI will never, as long as we work on our USPs, which
Yeah.
is the ability to connect, the ability to
Yeah.
think, the ability to
Yeah.
strategize, the ability to feel, the ability to empathize with another human
Yeah.
being, and the
Yeah.
ability to adapt to the situation and circumstances. AI, no matter how technologically advanced it becomes, it will not be able to take over.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Very,
It'll
very
never
well
have that
explained.
wisdom, because yes, wisdom can be,
Yes.
wisdom is life experiences, not algorithms.
Correct. Perfect. Wisdom is not algorithms. And just taking that same conversation ahead, in real life, in when we are growing up, when we want to get answers, when we are unsure of something, we reach out to somebody who is wise, somebody who's an elder, somebody who's experienced, somebody who has seen the world. And we look to that person for advice, whether am I doing this, is it right or wrong? My question to you is wisdom about having all the answers, or is wisdom about asking the right questions?
Neither.
Okay.
Wisdom is not about having the right answers. Wisdom comes from a space of where we've learned from our mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, wisdom is not about having the right answers. And
Yeah.
even if, for example, even if somebody were to come to me as a coach or as an elder person in the family for advice or wisdom or guidance,
Yeah.
my job, my job as a coach or as somebody who is in the position to be able to guide somebody or advise somebody, thankfully, would essentially be uh, you know guide them in the right direction, but I cannot
Yeah.
make them. I may have made a mistake in my past.
Yes.
I can only tell them, look, don't make this mistake because I've made this mistake, but I cannot stop them from making their own.
Hmm.
Right?
I,
So
I,
wisdom,
I, yeah.
so wisdom is not about having all the answers, but, and like you said, for me in my line of work, coaching is actually about asking the right questions.
Yes. Correct. 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 Coaching is
So that
about
the person
asking the
can
right
come to the right
questions.
answers. Yes.
Correct. So that the coachee can discover where the problem lies, what they can do to overcome wherever they are stuck, and then move ahead in life. Wonderful. Well explained. I'll just read out two or three comments that are in the chat. And Satish has been commenting twice or thrice. He says, I wish to quote a recent news in AI and robotics and spirituality, where it was recently reported that a humanoid monk has been sworn in as a Buddhist Lama, a humanoid monk. So we are at that cusp of technology where a lot of things will probably come together. and create something which we either cannot imagine or we aren't ready for. He says AI will evolve, it will certainly become wiser at some time. But it, of course, cannot replace humans because AI will always be a system of reference. And humans will always be the subject of natural evolution, something that we touched upon when you were speaking with Abhijit. So, Satish, if you are online and if you can unmute yourself and make yourself visible, just let's take this a little forward. Your views.
Yeah, thanks, Deepakji, and wonderful discussion, great questions, great answers, enjoying it very well. And yeah, my point of reference here is that I wish to probably say that there is a theory called Aristotelian theory for proheresis. Okay,
For
proheresis is
pro?
proheresis, Proheresis.
Okay.
It's basically how a system we take an input, how it is being, how the awareness is converted into some kind of memory. Memory is converted into some kind of actions. Actions becomes characters, and Aristotle actually had a vision. The example being, if you go and ask a serial murderer, okay, saying that why did you, kill 10 people? The kind of an answer that he will give will be so convincing, so convincing. Okay. What happens in the age of the systemic reference is that that is the one which is actually being fed in, whenever we are talking about LLMs, LLM is all about the training history. Okay,
Yeah.
because I also work in this field in a very deep sense, and that's why Deepak brought me here, because I took up the job of making a robot into a human. So we are working
Yeah.
in Project Mesma, where we have created artificial mind and we have created artificial brain. So
Yeah.
my Mesma will work exactly like you, sister. So it will have empathy, it will have faith based, it will have everything. But end of it, it is just a system of reference. The reason being, it is not self evolved. It is being created, and it will remain.
Yeah.
So that is in one point, when the self-learning will also hit a point of, a reference. There will be a wall. But human evaluation is not like that. We actually cherished every time a problem is thrown at us. We evolved earlier, like yours 10 generations before, my 10 generations before, we were all like 10 feet and 300 kgs and like that.
Human
Yes.
beings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the evolution is now changed. Okay, our DNAs have changed. That is also the reason why medical community is strongly saying that don't give an example which is more than 100 years old, because
Because it'll become invalid.
it is
Yeah.
already invalid. It is
Yeah.
definitely invalid. And in psychology, unfortunately, we still take references from 1920s and 1930s.
Yeah.
We are trying to evolve. Every day, people like Deepak, people like you, you're all teaching and engaging people to bring it to the reinforcement model of what a humanity, what a human being is all about. So this program is beautiful, and I this is something which you in if I have to tell in my line, we are working on the brain side, and sister, you have told the mind side of it, and it is, I'm enjoying it, and
Yeah.
probably to everybody, like when you have time, please go and look at this concept of Aristotelian principle of proheresis. That's exactly what she is talking about. Everything will get good, everything will get wiser, but nothing can replace us.
Wonderful. So the fact that
Thank
we've been
you.
speaking about it, and there was this Terminator series of movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
80s, I think, right?
yeah, yeah. We grew up on those movies, and there was one movie one version in that series was called Judgment Day. I think it was
Correct.
part 3, Judgment Day. Judgment Day is the day when the machines take over the world. All the centralized uh, collective consciousness of the machine sees to it that they will now rule the world. A nuclear device is detonated, and the world ends, and everything remains with the machines.
Yeah.
Just I want to scratch your brains, Satish and probably Arjumand both. do you think there will be something called Judgment Day? And how far away is it? Satish, you can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Judgment days are there every single day. The only thing is that you are, what is Judgment Day for you is not, may not be Judgment Day for me. Okay, it is happening, and right now while we are speaking, there is definitely a some part of the world, Judgment Days is definitely happening. Okay, we are so fortunate enough to sit on a Sunday and then have a talk like this, but unfortunately there are people who are even questioning their next minute. So judgment days are there. Depends on what we define and where we are and how we evolve ourselves. And
Wonderful.
this small concept itself of judgment day came to your mind. I feel that we are becoming wiser because at some time such small words will create a huge difference. So it will be there.
Hmm.
Lot of challenges will be there either in forms of machines, or I would even say one step further, forget about AI being an enemy. Like our biggest enemy right now is our own human being.
Correct.
Okay. Uh,
Yes.
so
Yes.
so let's worry about us first, and then let's worry about the others. And then if we can survive our own enemy, then new enemies, no problem. If you remember, I think a day back or 2 days back, Trump released one files regarding aliens and other life forms.
Yeah.
Deepak, if you remember, I from 6 months before I started giving you a hint saying that there are other life forms which are being at least accepted across the world. So we will survive. We will survive. We will not only survive, we will cherish. Happiness will definitely be there because we are built on faith. When there was no light, when there was no nothing, like we survived on inside the rock with earlier we feared the fire and then we make that as our tool.
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe a
We do the
philosophy.
Wonderful.
fire walk,
Wonderful.
right,
Great,
Satish?
great, great thoughts, Satish. Over to you, Arjumand.
Oh, okay, so the word Judgment Day, and I'll take it at its face value because Judgment Day has a spiritual connotation and a worldly connotation. So let's limit
Yes.
our conversation today to the worldly connotation
Worldly.
of Judgment Day.
Yes. Yeah.
And like Satish rightly said, for humankind, every obstacle that they face, humankind in general, every
Hmm.
obstacle that they faced and survived that obstacle is nothing less than a Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Right, the threats
Yeah.
that we faced during corona, the threats that, I
Yeah.
mean, the threats we faced of extinction or
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
wiped out in large numbers
Yeah.
is what I define as Judgment Day. Where we
Yeah.
faced a threat, whether internal threat or external threat or war threat,
Indeed.
those kind of
Yeah.
things. So if we
Yes.
have and we have survived so many threats, humankind
Hmm.
has survived
Hmm.
so many threats for years and
Hmm.
thousands and thousands and thousands of years ever since we were created.
Yeah.
And if we've come this far because of the human evolution, mind evolution, spiritual evolution, whatever evolution you may take into consideration,
Yeah.
that is exactly our US survival is not. See, technology will come and become part of our life. A new
Yes.
challenge will come, it will become a part of our life. We are
Yeah.
literally living in the midst of a chaotic world right now.
Hmm.
Right, we're living in the midst of a chaotic world right now, where in a certain part of the world nothing is certain.
Correct.
They're facing a Judgment Day.
Yeah.
They are facing they're facing annihilation.
Yeah.
So we're living and we're still surviving. You and me are sitting here talking today, aren't we?
Yes. Yes.
We're still surviving. So
Yeah.
what makes us think AI is only technology? We've survived far worse, and we
Hmm.
will survive
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. We've survived far worse, and
As long as we use our human potential and capacity, and
yes.
human potential is far 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 greater, and compared to any artificial potential that they may be. And like Satish said, I've made the mind, I've made the
Yeah.
the body of a robot, I made the mind a human mind. But
Yeah.
what are the referral? He was referring to referral points. What are the referral points of the human mind?
Yes.
A
Yes.
human mind, right? The referral point
Yeah.
of a robotic human mind is actually at the end of the day a human mind.
Mm.
So how will we?
Wonderful. You know, again, when we talk about the human mind, a lot of people, for some reason, associate it with the brain. So, it may or may not be different. You may or may not agree, but mind is that section inside you or the part of you that takes these emotional decisions. The brain is basically more of a calculus. I remember, and this was like around 35, 40 years ago, we were sitting with the then principal of my college where I used to study and then teach. And my uh, education qualification is an electronic engineer. And our principal then, 35, 40 years ago, used to tell me, what if we can have a machine? And the IBM PC had just been invented. And then when we used to go to doctors in the olden days, the doctors used to check our pulse, and just by listening to that, feeling that pulse, they could, deduct what is wrong with us, and then they used to prescribe medicines. Today, if you go to a doctor, you need 25 tests to find out what is wrong with you. He said there will come a day when, you can feed all this expertise that you have, that by touching you're feeling your pulse, you can find out what is wrong with this. If I can feed all that data to a machine, to a system, to a computer, and go and then stand in front of it, here, check my pulse and tell me what is wrong with this, that day will come. That person is still alive. He's like 75, 80 plus today. But since we were talking about this conversation, it just took me back over there where the PC had just been invented, and we were talking that a day will come when computers will, artificial intelligence will analyze us and tell us what is wrong with us.
Already
And
happening. It's
Sati,
already
yeah,
happening. I
already
think they've
happening.
created such
Exactly.
machines in China.
Yes. You just stand in front of the machine, it diagnoses you, and then it tells you what could be possibly wrong with you. So in the space of like 35, 40 years, what was dreamed of is now actually becoming possible.
But we survived that.
Yes, we survived that, and of course we will survive Judgment Day also, if and when it comes, and all these small other Judgment Days that are currently happening everywhere else, as Satish said and Arjumand also said. It is 1:27 on a Sunday afternoon, and all the people who have joined in, are participating, have been there throughout. Thank you everybody for joining in. Thank you, Arjumand, for sharing your knowledge, expertise, and all your views on something that isn't discussed too much. And Satish, for coming in and sharing your expertise, your knowledge, and you are right there at the frontier. You are working on all these things. So thank you for joining in. Thank you for sharing your expertise. And next Sunday is going to be a celebratory episode. It is our 300th non-stop Sunday Bloom Talk show. Normally at every milestone, we do it offline, meaning it's a celebratory episode where we meet and greet, we call in some experts, we talk and enjoy over some food. But currently, because Payal is traveling and she probably is reaching just one day before next Sunday, that is on Saturday, we will be having the celebration offline maybe a little later. So an advance invitation to everyone, do join us next Sunday on the 300 celebration of our Bloom Talk show. We will have another person, another expert, another knowledgeable person whom we will learn from, share their experiences, so that we can make our lives and the world just a little better, a better place to be in. Thank you everyone for joining in, and God bless. Yes, Balaram, go ahead.
See, there are a lot of suicide cases in IIT campuses all over the IIT campuses in India. Okay, how AI will help them to reduce the stress level and come out of this suicide notation?
Good question, Balaram. Let's ask Arjumand. Last question before we close. Yeah.
How will AI help us in that? Is it to use the human mind to give referral points to the AI? And correct me, Satish, if I'm wrong, please. Okay. To use the human mind to give referral points to the AI to program it to think that suicide is never right under any circumstances, and program it in such a way where it tries to dissuade the person who comes to it even with the question of suicide, and you know, try to you know, dissolve it completely. I mean, to become the devil's advocate and say why you should not commit suicide, not commit suicide, not commit suicide, till that person is convinced that no, it's not right.
Yeah, we'll be having
So,
an
Satish?
ethical AI.
Yeah,
We'll be having an ethical AI. Yeah.
I'll answer it, you know, in a scientific way. Balramji, nice to see you again. You know, there are a lot of IoT devices which are actually being discovered right now, which works on the EMF and PEMF segment, where the minute about just like 3 to 4 seconds minute before your suicide, you know, if you remember my session, I gave you a diagram also, you know, like we'll be able to understand that there is going to be a spark. It can, so there are devices which are now, which are not yet in the market, but it will come very soon. Unfortunately, it has to reach everybody. So if the device is there with them, it will automatically understand this guy is going out of control, and it will pass on a very small but a sharp signal, which can two ways. Either it can raise an alarm like sound like that, so that you know it go attention is, you know, deviated. But the end technology version is that it will actually send the signal back to the brain. It's called as neuroconduction theory. It will send it back to the brain to erase that moment. So there are works which are actually happening, and great progress is there. There are a couple of products are also right there in the market yet to be launched, and Project Mesma is also coming up very soon. So we are all working in this space.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned for what Satish is working on. Thank you, Balram. Thank you, Satish. Thank you, Arjumand, and thank you everybody for joining in. Join us.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak, for the opportunity. I'd like to thank you and Payal and Abhijit here for this opportunity. Payal, you know, even before PSAI, Payal got in touch with me saying, I want you on the talk show. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And I've shared, you know, if people would like to follow, I've shared my details on the chat.
Yes. So for everyone, arjumandabdullah.com, www, that is her website. You can reach out to her, connect with her. Also, if you possibly need her number, you can coordinate with us and then you can get in touch with her.
Yes, and I've
Instagram ID.
sent my Instagram link as well.
Yes.
And I'm happy to, you know, be of service in any way that I can.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, Arjumand, for taking time out on a Sunday afternoon. Hope to see you again next Sunday, 12:30 India time, for celebrating the 300th Sunday Bloom Talk Show. God bless us all. Bye.